Do you see a change when it comes to how America views the issue of Tibet?
In the first the term of the President Trump, we passed the Tibetan Policy Support
Yes.
Act 2020. And that was, the politically speaking, the biggest act, and all the things that we needed, on reincarnation and US government, dialogue, everything was included in that. So it was signed by President Trump. In that sense, I think his views and stand on Tibet is consistent. But then there has been, generally, a lot of changes with the shutting down, more or less, of USAID.
That's true.
Voice of America, Radio Free Asia. It affected Tibetan programs and aid for Tibetans as well. Otherwise, Tibet has always been a bipartisan issue. For thousands of years, there was never a land border between India and China. It was always been between Tibet and India. In fact, the finance minister of Tibet wrote a letter to the governor of India when Chinese army was invading. He said, by the way, between the border of India and China, especially in the Arunachal side, we have only 80 border guards. If India doesn't help Tibet now, India will pay much more heavier price. Now I think India has, not 80, not 8,000, not 80,000, maybe even, few 100,000 soldiers guarding the border. And also, even today, there is something called Indo-Tibet Border Police on the Indian side, which in a way recognizes the historical fact that the border was with Tibet. And also the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Honorable Pema Khanduji, a friend of mine, whom you know, when the media asks him about Indo-China border, he says, by the way, we never had Indo-China border. It's always been an Indo-Tibet border. Tibet is the roof of the world and has 40,000 glaciers. And 6 of the 10 major rivers of Asia flow from Tibet. And as a Tibetan and a Buddhist in the land of Lamas, we've been very generous in the sense we respected nature, we respected the natural flow of rivers. So the cradle of Chinese civilization, right?
Yes.
It's in Yellow River and Yangtze River, right? They flow from Tibet. Irrawaddy, Brahmaputra, Mekong River, all flow from Tibet, and
The whole of Indus.
And Indus and Satluj, also the term India came from Indus, right?
Yes.
So all flow from Tibet. So if Mr. Gao is saying that it is our water, we should say sorry. It was a Tibetan water, still is a Tibetan water. That's where Tibetans live.